drag it onto XSplit. Let's just get that back in position. Don't know why that decided to run away, or whatever. Alright, and we should be able to as well just get something up here to let you guys know who is uThermal, because that will be quite useful in this situation as he plays on a barcode. So let me just get that set up for you guys. And we should be good. Perfect. Alright. If I just move uThermal's name to the left a little bit, because I can't stand it overlapping the minerals. And we are good to go. First best of 3 of the day. Welcome again to the new Star League 2016. Again, $1,300 on the line in this match right now. Win 2-0, it's all yours. Win 2-1, you get 66% of it. Take one map, you've already guaranteed yourself a few $100s. Cool format, it's an interesting one. Let's see how it plays out. To the top left hand side of the map, representing X team, is going to be our blue Zerg player from China. It is Silky. And to the top right hand side of the map, our red Terran player, representing AT Gaming, is going to be none other than uThermal. We saw on Frost, map number 1, uThermal's map pick. Map 2, New Gettysburg. Map 3 is the map that I've forgotten. What do we have? We had Galactic Process and Frozen Temple vetoed by Silky, which is kind of interesting videos because he will have been watching uThermal at IEM, I am sure, because they've known about their groups for a few days. I'm sure he will have been watching uThermal at IEM, and he will have seen how aggressively uThermal has been playing and how good he is at Free Racks Reaper play as well. So he vetoes the Free Racks Reaper maps. uThermal vetoes Apotheosis, pretty standard against Zerg, long, hard to push on, hard to get damage done on properly. So we get it, Apotheosis. The Dasan Station veto is very interesting though. I feel as though the Dasan Station veto is a little bit sort of out there, because Dasan Station is generally thought to be fairly good for Terran players. I guess in some sense of the mind, uThermal might just veto it because he says, well, you know what, the meta game on Dasan Station in China might just be so much different to the meta game for me in Europe that it's not worth me taking that risk. When I can play on maps I'm very comfortable on, there's nothing crazy going to happen on them, such as Frost, New Gettysburg, King Sejong, and I can just play out a very standard game against a player that maybe I'm very confident against. So that could be the thought process there for uThermal in those early videos. We are going to see him already looking to pick off a drone, getting them low but not getting a kill just yet. Nice sword color placement to keep one alive, and Evo doesn't actually quite block that Reaper off, although it's a nice idea that he had there. Try and stop the Reaper from getting out. That would have been pretty sweet. That would have actually been a really sick play to get us started here today. Unfortunately, it was not meant to be, as uThermal will hop up to the main, finds the Lings once again. He's just trying to get information right now to figure out what exactly the plan is here from Silky. Silky is looking for a third base. He has not continued to mine gas here, and so he will be looking for the third hatchery sometime soon, once his Ling speed starts to get up here, and once he gets some freedom away from this Reaper. Now, on the other side of the map, Stim has started. The second barracks came down from uThermal, and we're going to see that classic 2 medevac Stim drop timing. And we're going to be seeing the starport coming on now, and uThermal will just continue to set up into this, a build which has become a standard in the metagame in recent times. As you see, the Reaper actually pulls back to the watchtower. If you can keep this Reaper alive, it's actually somewhat... it's actually fairly useful for him, because in a larger engagement, a Reaper grenade can actually cause complete havoc. You know, if you come in and you see kind of, if you get blown up by a Reaper grenade, all of a sudden your Lings are all over the place. That's a lot of time your Lings aren't doing damage and aren't closing in on your opponent. And it's a lot of free damage for the Terran. Right now, the Reaper is still just sort of looking for a third base. He didn't see it before down here, but he did see the drone on the way over if he was still paying attention to his Reaper. So we'll keep our eyes for that and see if uThermal is going to show us that he has spotted that, or I think he has at this point. I don't think he's doing anything too crazy. He's just setting up a wall, which is pretty standard. When you fly those units across the map in the medevacs, you have nothing left at home. So if a run-by comes in and hits you when you're halfway across the map with all of your units, you're going to take a lot of damage. As uThermal comes back in, just checks once again, confirms the third base is on the way. 16 more Lings being made though. I mean, Silky may very well be looking to just deflect this initial aggression from uThermal, but maybe he's going for something a little bit more than that. Maybe it's time for Silky to go for a little bit of a Bane bust here, because this is a lot of Lings continuing to come out right now. uThermal's still scouting with the Reaper. He's still trying to pick up information, trying to find out, hey, what is going on here? Am I up against a lot of Zerglings? What exactly is this going to be? And it is a lot of Zerglings. I mean, we see more and more being spammed out. 20 more were just in production. And there we go. The units coming across the map. There's going to be a lot of gas to morph in Banelines. And uThermal Well, he's actually only sent one medevac unit across the map here, which is somewhat interesting, actually. I wonder why he never started his second medevac. Looks as though he made a little bit of a mistake there. But this actually might pay off quite well for him, because now he's going to have units left at home to defend this, unless he loads up in his next two medevacs. As he stims in right now with just one medevac of Marines, he's going to get some drone kills already. He'll see his opponent not really with anything here, as those Balins start crashing in. This is all about micro now from uThermal. He's going to stim down this ramp. He starts to step back up the ramp as well, kiting against those Zerglings. Has to start splitting against the Balins, though. That's going to be one of the issues here for him as he loads up. Just going to start unloading again to help him split away from the Banes. We see Lings continue to stroll in. There's going to be some SCVs going down here at the same time. uThermal's across the map still picking off drones, so he's losing SCVs, but he's doing damage as well, and that's going to be very important for him here as both players. I mean, uThermal's actually just cleaning out the entire mineral line of both mineral lines of the Zerg player now, and we see SCVs being pulled. I mean, Zerglings on their own are not going to fight against Marines with stim, with medevacs overhead as well, not with SCVs able to come in and tank a little bit too. uThermal pulls that one Marine back, keeps it alive there as well, and we do see some Zerglings continuing on the low ground to work their way through a depot. But again, these Marines over here have done so much. They killed so many drones, and now they're also going to nearly get that natural hatchery, but the Queens were there and the transfusers did go down. But I mean, again, it's forcing Queens to transfuse hatcheries. It means the Queens don't have transfusers for themselves. If uThermal goes for a follow-up attack, which you have to imagine is on the cards for him. He's got two tanks out, he's got plenty of Marines, combat shields about to finish. He'll know for a fact he's done a lot of damage here, and he'll know for a fact this is the sort of stage of the game where Silky, if he wants to get back in this, has to start droning, rather than making units. And so uThermal wants to get over that. He wants to force units, he wants to stop his opponent from realistically being able to just do what he wants to do, to drone up. As we see tanks coming in, they're going to be used to shut down those buildings very easily at the front, and so this next bus does not work out for Silky at all. uThermal actually only loads up one medevac to go across the map. That's going to be landing into the main base here in the next few moments. So as this medevac comes across, it'll begin to unload into the main. The Marines starting to drop on out of this here. So Marines dropping out of this medevac. We're going to see them looking to continue to commit on forwards. And there they go, commit on in. Just looking to see what they can do. Queens in position, though, means that realistically this medevac has to just lift up and leave. No point sticking around in that sort of situation, as we're going to be having the Lings and Banes from Silky again, just looking around to see what they can get up to. As we're going to see Marines finding themselves in overload. I mean, little things like this all add up over time. As we see two more medevacs heading out onto the map, and another 11 Marines are going to join the pressure squad, which are currently looking to keep Silky pinned back, keep Silky having to make units and having to respond to these drops. I mean, as time goes by, these Marines, they pick off another few Lings here or there, and that's another few Lings that have to be remade instead of a couple of drones. And it all does add up. As we see uThermal just going to load at the front, might very well just opt to go for a scan to clean up some of this creep spread. I mean, that's one way in which he can utilize this map control he's created for himself with these medevacs. uThermal is definitely committed to two bases, by the way, as well. He doesn't have a third base, he's on 5 racks, continuing to build tanks, and he's starting to move across the map here. Now, tanks, not necessarily the best of units against kind of Ling Bane, which is exactly what Silky is playing, but at the same time, these are kind of units which still, in this sort of scenario, I think, will kind of get rid of a lot of the units and will make it very difficult for Silky to run in, because Silky isn't in the kind of en-masse Ling Bane phase of the game yet, he's still in fairly low numbers, so tanks, for now, are going to be very effective, as we're going to be seeing Marines starting to pull back here. Here we go, Silky coming in with quite the concave, coming in from a couple of different angles. Tanks are going to start pulling back. Marines are still surviving as well. Some Balins connecting to the bottom side, but there's still Marines left over from all fronts of uThermal, and he just pushes these Queens back to the top, and as those Queens go down, so does pretty much every hope I think Silky has in this game. He's trying to morph in a few more Balins to the left side, but the Marines just will not stop moving forwards. Every single Balin morphing in will go down. It's only 4, but it still is all that Silky had to rely on there. Lings popping out 1 or 2 at a time. It's not going to be enough. GG. uThermal is going to take game number 1. Here, let me very quickly just fix uThermal's name tag. Perfect. Alright, so we're going to kick this off down to the bottom left-hand side of the map. It is going to be our Red Terran player from AT Gaming, the IEM Shanghai champion, still in Shanghai to compete in this event. Can he take the Chinese double? It is uThermal. And to the bottom right, our blue Zerg player is going to be Silky. From X Team, the Chinese player, can he take a map here? Again, every map you win is money. For uThermal, there's actually so much reason for him to try and win this game 2-0, or win this series 2-0, rather than 2-1. it's a difference of like, I mean, whatever $1,300 is over 3, so like 430. If he wins this 2-0, uThermal goes home with all $1,300, and again, if it's 2-1 for either player, then it's a 66-33 split. So one of those situations right now where every game does count. Every game is so important. It would be a pretty great tournament to have a perfect run in. You know, not drop a map all tournament long, take home like pretty much entire of the prize pool. That'd be pretty sick. Spawning pool on the way down here from Silky after he goes for the hatchery first into a gas. That spawning pool is the last building to be added in this initial build order. Not really a surprise there. Hatch gas pool is the go-to for Zerg players. What I'm interested in here from uThermal is what does he do on map number 2, New Gettysburg, because it's a map which doesn't necessarily play to his style. He mentioned that numerous times during his IEM Shanghai interviews, and it doesn't play to his kind of style at all, but it's still kind of a good map to just macro on, and if he feels confident in Silky and kind of the macro game, then he should be kind of happy with this map as well, and I imagine that's why he'd veto it. He didn't veto it over like Dasan Station or something, you know? So as uThermal sends out this Reaper, I want to see what build this is. Now, he goes straight into a factory, and that's what the exact sort of difference I wanted to see. So, uThermal going to go for a factory-based opening here. So, he's just going to play maybe a Hellion-based opening. He's definitely going to get a starport because he's getting a second gas. So, it's not a super fast free CC, and I like that as well. Don't take, you know, if he's confident, no need to take a risk, kind of being too greedy or something like that. Against someone who just Bane busted you in game 1, the last thing you want to do is start taking risks or free CCs no matter the map. I mean, this map you can still Bane burst on because of that lower pathway very early in the game, so uThermal just going into that factory. Let's see what it's going to be. He might just open with like a Tankovac drop or a Widowmine drop into Tankovacs, and that's a very effective way as well to just sort of be very safe in the early stages of the game because you have an early tank and a medevac to move it around, and at the same time you're also going to have a lot of potential to be aggressive as well. You know, you get across the map, you drop those tanks down, and we're just going to be able to see him cleaning up creep spread and so on with all of that as well. I was just going to be seeing a couple of Hellions on the way out right now. We're going to be seeing uThermal going for that option instead, though. So he's just going to go for some Hellions here, so just changing it up a bit. Now, that's not necessarily going to work out wonderfully here, because Silky is already making a few roaches. His roach horn coming down very early in this, and he's definitely looking to pressure early on as uThermal. His Reaper is going to get caught now. His Hellions on the way across the map. And for uThermal, as soon as he finds out about those roaches, the better this will be, because as soon as he finds out about them... Oh, he's going to go for Cloak Banshee. Okay, well, that works too, because obviously the Hellions aren't great against the roaches, but Cloak Banshee definitely is. Any units that come across the map here are going to die very quickly to Cloak... Or not very quickly, but they're going to die when the Cloak Banshee finds them, eventually. So uThermal's actually got an opening, because again, it's fairly safe. It's different, but it is fairly safe, because the Cloak Banshee can keep you safe from a lot of things. The Hellions give you a lot of good map control as well. I mean, here's the Ravager starting to come across the map, but again, uThermal, I mean, he's got this first Banshee about to pop. He's going to go, well, kind of across the map. It depends if you can spot this coming down the south side. He's building the depot here, so he will have some time to respond and pull units back in position to defend. So I'm just going to be seeing that depot finishing up. And those Hellions continue to come across. He will see the lack of a third base. As soon as he sees that, he's going to know exactly what this is, I think. And I think he'll actually send his Banshee down to the southern pathway instead. He might run these Hellions by to try and get some kind of worker damage done, unless he feels he needs them back at home. Ravager's already picking off this depot at the front. It looks as though the Hellions are just going to run by, so uThermal going to get some damage done once again. This time only 5 workers so far. Still getting more kills, 7 in total now, as the Ling Ravager force starts to come in. Only 1 Banshee at the moment. Reactor going to go down as uThermal goes into kind of recovery mode, or panic mode, or crisis management mode, whatever you want to call it. We're going to see SCVs being pulled here. There's some Marines as well. There's a siege tank up also, so uThermal actually is fairly well prepared against it. It's just about getting rid of a lot of these Zerglings initially. You're going to see one of those corrosive bars, 2 of the corrosive bars go on the tank, but uThermal cleans it up. And with the damage he did on the other side of the map as well, he sits 33 workers to the 19. Silky's aggression here in game number 2 is once again not working out for him, and uThermal, I really do feel a smart choice of build, because it is a build which keeps you very safe to the majority of attacks. If it was like a Nidus all-in or something, then he wouldn't have been very safe, but this sort of Roach Ravager Ling attack across the map, this is something he is very safe against. And you know, he can scout early in the game to see if he's, if his opponent has a lair or something for him to be aware of, for him to try and, prepare against a Nidus as well. So this worked out very well for uThermal. Now he sits 14 workers ahead, and Silky's aggression for the second game in a row just has not worked out for him. And now he has to play Well, now he really has to play catch-up. I mean, how do you even catch up, though? When there's 2 Banshees on the map to slowly pick away at workers here, I mean, they come in, they get 1 worker kill, 2 worker kills. I mean, you know, it's just a little bit more every now and then, and we're just going to see SCV is just going to be pulled away. Tank will do a lot of damage here. Marines will help to fight as well. I mean, uThermal just has a very comfortable hold against this Ling run by. Banshees are actually going to be... did he lose one of them? And he did indeed, so actually one of the Banshees going down. Looks like he traded out with the Queen, actually. So, either way, I mean, it's good damage being done. He's forcing units away, he's forcing Queens to back off and maybe waste transfusers. And behind this, uThermal will probably just go into a couple medevacs now and maybe just into a couple of tanks dropping around the map. And that might just be enough to actually even end this here. Silky sends 4 more Zerglings onto the map, but what are they going to do? We saw about 20 Zerglings just previously getting shut down. I'm not sure what exactly expects 4 to be able to get done here. As we see, Queens will pick off that Banshee now. With the Spore Crawler burrowing underneath, uThermal realizing that just a little bit too late. So the Banshees do go down. But he's already been in a lead for a good amount of time. He's already got a huge army supply advantage because of that. And that's a lead which is not going to slip away from him for any reason, any time in the near future. As we're just going to be seeing a depot coming down here from uThermal to rebuild that wall, which he did lose earlier. I mean, he didn't have a complete wall set up, but he did have it started at least. So just going to start rebuilding that. Scan to the main is going to tell him that actually gas is only really just going and being started mining once again here from Silky, so he has a good idea that this maybe isn't going to be anything too aggressive. There's a burrow upgrade on the way, that's just finishing up now, and maybe some sort of burrow play with Banelines is the way he can maybe try and come back in this. I mean, if you get some good Baneline hits in the bottom pathway here, for example, maybe that's what we need from Silky for him to pull back into this. I still feel as though uThermal could just drop the 2 tanks across the map and start doing damage with those, and that alone might be enough to just sort of, well, put Silky into a very tough position. uThermal's 3rd CC starting to float out over. That's something he had built up much earlier in the game as well. Part of the build order gets that 3rd CC about the 5-minute marker, and so we have that. And that's obviously helped uThermal recover from SCV's lost. Very quickly as well, as we see this Viking moving around, hunting down Overlords. I mean, again, everything that uThermal does right now that does damage to his opponent, anything he kills that forces his opponent to replace it, is replacements which Silky cannot afford to kind of go into right now. I mean, we're talking about a 3rd base currently unsaturated, 38 runs to 55 SCVs. Silky has to make something crazy happen if he wants to win this, and uThermal's just getting himself further ahead by using this Viking, by sort of just setting up into 3 bases very safely, waiting for upgrades to finish. He's going to have 1-1 against 0-0 for quite some time here. He's going to have Stimpack finishing soon. He's even got a couple of Liberators out, maybe afraid of a potential Mutalisk switch, because he does see a lot of Lings and some Banes. Whether that's actually the case, or whether he just wants to try and set up some Liberators aggressively, well, either could work here, as we do see again. Those Baneling landmines really are the one thing I'm looking at here for Silky to be able to get back into the game with. Viking gets saved last moment, pulls away. There's an Overlord down here he could kill if he realizes it's there, although I don't think he does right now, as we see uThermal again not moving across the map with his entire army, just sending a little drop across, 2 medevacs, 12 Marines. Those Liberators also coming up around the top side of the map. They're going to still be spotted now by some Overlords, and as these Overlords spot those Liberators, the Liberators are going to continue down the right-hand side of the map, as we'll see the medevacs just boosting across here. Now, there's another couple of Baneling landmines over here, but the thing is, wherever uThermal unloads, it's very unlikely he's going to be kind of all grouped up. He's actually going to unload towards the 4th base, so we'll see if this is something Silky can defend. He's got Lings already starting to run in. uThermal will just lift back away. You've got to remember here that uThermal doesn't have the, the most siege, the most units across the map. He's got a lot of his siege tanks left at home. There's a little bit of a run by that came in over here that did a little bit of damage. And those medevacs still around. Liberators setting up as well. And 4 workers killed already. Spore Crawler repositions. The Liberators just move in towards the main base as Silky tries to hold this 4th base. And he's doing it successfully so far. uThermal not able to find an opening here to really get too much damage done. And those 2 Liberators still moving around, still looking to see what sort of location they might be able to come in from to get further damage. As we're going to see these Marines working their way through the Queen there. The Queen going down very swiftly. And we are just going to be seeing these Zerglings running in once again. Liberators will set up over to this side once more, so more worker damage being done as we do hit some lagging game. In just a moment, 3, 2, 1, and we resume. From a few seconds before when we left off, these Liberators will siege up once again, these Marines will stim in once more too, and I'm actually going to be seeing Silky. And it's a little bit slow to respond to that this time around. The Ling's coming in now, uThermal kiting backwards, we'll load on up, and we'll back away. The Liberators still in position over here, so let's just recap a quick couple of moments here, guys. So just to remind you what was going on, uThermal was basically busy dropping around the map. This was an aggressive opening out of Silky, which did not go his way. uThermal defended it, took a big worker lead. Now uThermal sits still up by almost, well, over 20 workers. He's up 40 army supply. His upgrades, while 2-2 are about to finish, and he's only up against a 1-1 of his opponent. So things are looking great for uThermal, whichever way you look at it. And we do see him loading up these tanks right now, and it looks as though uThermal has the plan to start moving across the map right here. So uThermal going to start moving across the map. He's going to join up his army with this 2-2 timing, basically. He's going to look to hit and basically close out this game. It's sort of what we were expecting to happen when we timed out. Let's see if Silky finds a miraculous way to come back into this. He does have Banelines, and he does have Burrow. So those Baneland mines are one way he might just find a way back into this. He's going to need some really good Baneland landmines if he wants this. I mean, he's going to need some really good Baneland landmines if he wants this. As we're going to be seeing a stim coming in, we're going to be seeing these Overlord taking a little bit of damage here. And there's full hatchery going down. We're going to see Silky starting to come one in. No flank or anything, just all from one direction though. And if he comes in just from one direction, it's not going to be pretty, as we're going to see a lot of burrowed units there. uThermal sees it, drops the scan, more Marines stimming in from the back. We're going to see more of those Lings and more of those Banes getting taken down here. Hatchery being transfused, trying to keep it alive. The last Baneling in the back there now, going to go down as well. That will be GG, and uThermal does